Welcome into the Main Street Media TV High School Football Wrap-Up Show, Playoffs Edition. Teams from all across the state of Tennessee tied up last week trying to keep their goals alive of raising that gold championship ball in December. And our Main Street Media of Tennessee newspaper sports editors and writers were at those games and on the sidelines for all the action, covering your favorite team's efforts to survive and advance. If you want to keep up with all the action from your local high school teams, as well as information and news from around your communities, hey, consider picking up your Main Street Media of Tennessee community newspaper each and every week. Okay, let's get this trip around the Mid-State started with a look at the action from Western Middle Tennessee.
Hi, how are y'all? My name is Casey Patrick. I'm the sports reporter for the Dixon Post, Cheatham County Exchange, and the Hickman County Times. We've only got one football game for you for the wrap-up here, but Sycamore went on the road. Second round of TWSLA playoffs, went to Covington. It was a tough matchup for the War Eagles. They lost 56-14 to Covington. The War Eagles season is over with that loss. Cody Scaff, though, 208 yards passing, 2 touchdowns. He had 2 long touchdowns. I believe they were both in the second half. The game had kind of gotten away from them by then, but Sycamore's season is over. And that'll be it for me for football year, but basketball season right around the corner. Y'all have a good evening.
Okay, we have some amazing sponsors who support your community and your schools all year long. Let's stop and hear from them, and we'll be right back.
He shoots, and he scores!
At Delta Dental of Tennessee, we know our success begins and ends with providing superior quality service, and that includes serving those who need it most. This year, we're celebrating 25 years of giving back to the community we call home. Delta Dental, along with our Smile 180 Foundation, supports Tennessee's dental colleges and oral health education, children's hospitals, free and reduced cost dental clinics, and other like-minded charities. Here's to the next 25 plus years of ensuring healthy smiles.
There were some great matchups down in Southern Middle Tennessee. Let's see how they went.
Hey, I'm Maurice Patton. Round 2 for Southern Middle Tennessee football teams was pretty disappointing from one end of the state to the other. Let's start in Memphis, where Independence went to Whitehaven in a Class 6A playoff contest. Threw pick sixes on each of their first 2 possessions and went on to a 47-0 loss to the Tigers. 4 total turnovers for Independence in that loss as they finished up the year 5-6. Whitehaven improves to 7-4 with the win. Second round appearance though for Independence since 2020, so kind of moving in the right direction, but a tough way to end things. Again, Whitehaven 47, Independence nothing in Class 6A second round action on Friday night. Over in Knoxville, Lawrence County goes on the road for a 5A second round matchup over at Knoxville Halls and dropped a 42-14 decision over there, finishing up an 8-4 year. Knoxville Halls improves to 6-5 with that win. The Red Devils led 21-0. The Red Devils scored 21 points over the second and third quarters after the game was tied 7-7 in the first. So Knoxville Halls gets up 28-7. Carter Pettigrew scores the second of his 2 touchdowns, but Halls closes it out with another couple of touchdowns and wins 42-14. Again, for Lawrence County, it was also their first second round appearance in the state playoffs since 2010. So nice season for the Wildcats and first-year coach Garrett Barnett. But 42-14, Knoxville Halls over Lawrence County in Class 5A second round action. Also in Class 5A in Columbia, the host Columbia Central Lions dropped a 38-28 loss to visiting Knoxville Central. The Bobcats improved to 10-2 with that win. Columbia Central finishes up 7-4 despite another great performance out of their junior quarterback Daniel Booker. 227 rushing yards on 25 carries with 4 touchdowns. Also, completed 7 of 8 passes for 138 yards, for 465 offensive yards, after going for 355 in their first round win over East Hamilton. But Columbia Central had to play from behind most of the night, took their first lead at 21-17, also led 28-24, but trying to get back on top after trailing 31-28. They had a couple of 60-yard plays wiped off by first an unsportsmanlike conduct penalty and then an offensive pass interference penalty, and then had to go on 4th down from deep in their own territory, couldn't get it. Knoxville Central scores again for that 10-point cushion there, 38-28 again. Knoxville Central, the final against Columbia Central. Snapped a 5-game winning streak for Columbia Central with that loss. Knoxville Central 38, Columbia Central 28 in Class 5A second round action. In Class 4A, Spring Hill goes out west to South Gibson, drops a 42-7 decision out there. The host Hornets led 42-0 at the end of 3 before Spring Hill got on the board with a 78-yard pass play from Jonah Gibson to Lionel Brooks. But tough night overall for the Raiders. They gave up 477 rushing yards on the night after finishing the regular season as the Region 5-4A runner-up. Nice season for the Raiders in their first season under Josh Taylor. Congrats to them. Again, South Gibson improves to 9-3 with that 42-7 win. Spring Hill finishes up 5-6 on the year. In 2A, also over in West Tennessee, Mount Pleasant goes on the road to Milan, undefeated Milan, and the Bulldogs stay unbeaten with a 42-16 victory there. Mount Pleasant drove down inside the Milan 5-yard line on their opening drive of the game, got turned away, wound up with a blocked field goal and interception early on as well. By the time they did finally get on the board, it was 21-3 at the half, and Milan was off and running. The Bulldogs improving to 11-0 with that victory. Mount Pleasant finishing up a 9-3 season with the loss. In 3A, second round action, Giles County at the Brickyard had McMinn Central come in and picked up a 41-6 victory there. It was Giles County's 8th straight win as they improved to 9-3 with that victory. McMinn Central falls to 8-4 with that loss. Pearson Collier rushes for 112 yards on 16 carries, scores 3 touchdowns. Also had an interception and a blocked extra point. And Collier's been on a tear here of late, 16 touchdowns in his last 4 games for Giles County there. The Bobcats led 20-0 early on, and it was done from there, basically. Final score again, Giles County 41, McMinn Central 6 in Class 3A second round action. Finally, in Class 1A, it was Richland defeating South Fulton 42-8, Richland improving to 10-2 on the season with their 7th straight home victory of the season. Again, South Fulton finishing 9-3. Richland led 21-0 by the 4-minute mark of the opening quarter and just rolled from there 35-0 at the half. Again, improving to 7-0 on the season at Wayne Hobbs Stadium. Cam Drake with a 55-yard pick 6 in the second half to close out the scoring for the Raiders. Big night on the ground for Richland. Colin Cagle, A.J. Bates, and Jake Sands each rushed for 80-plus yards as the team rolled up 282 total rushing yards, 378 offensive yards. Big win for Richland there, 42-8 over South Fulton. I'm Maurice Patton from Southern Middle Tennessee. We'll see y'all later this week.
Now a big jump up to Northwest Middle Tennessee for a look at how our teams up there fared last week.
Hello everybody, this is Calvin White, Northwest Regional Sports Editor for Main Street Preps, here to give you a quick wrap-up of all the second-round playoff coverage in Robertson and Montgomery County. Only 4 teams between Robertson and Montgomery County playing in the second round last week. We're going to start with the lone Montgomery County team. Kirkwood fell 24-7 to Page, the 4-time Class 5A state runner-up. The lone touchdown of the game for the Cobras was a touchdown pass from quarterback Miles Redding to tight end Parker Keenan. Kirkwood's season ends with a 9-3 record. The Cobras won their first playoff game in program history this season, but fall to Page 24-7 in the second round. Over in Robertson County, Joe Burns' season came to an end with a 39-14 loss to Coalfield. Joe Burns' season ends with a 6-6 record. 6 wins is the most by the Red Devils since 2018. They also got their first playoff win under head coach Justin Robinson in his 3-year tenure. Springfield rolled over Lexington 37-6 in the second round. Jermaine Cobbins with a 100-yard pick six in that game to end the first half. Kason Woodson, Lamarius Dowlin, Myron Level, all with rushing touchdowns in the win for the Yellow Jackets. East Robertson only led 21-14 at the half against Peabody, but outscored the Golden Tide 14-0 in the second half for a 35-14 win in the second round. East Robertson stays undefeated at 12-0. That'll do it for all of our second round wrap-up coverage in the Northwest region. As always, I'm Calvin White. I'll talk to you again soon.
And it's time to stop again real quick for another word from our amazing sponsors who are all supporters of your teams and your communities.
At Delta Dental of Tennessee, we know our success begins and ends with providing superior quality service, and that includes serving those who need it most. This year, we're celebrating 25 years of giving back to the community we call home. Delta Dental, along with our Smile 180 Foundation, supports Tennessee's dental colleges and oral health education, children's hospitals, free and reduced cost dental clinics, and other like-minded charities. Here's to the next 25 plus years of ensuring healthy smiles.
When the arena lights dim for a concert, or when the crowd becomes one at a big game, you can almost feel like you're the biggest fan. But who's your biggest fan? It's the person that will get you home safely after a night of drinking. It's the person who looks out for your life to make sure you leave the stadium with someone sober. This could be a designated driver or someone who offers to get you a ride share. Because in Tennessee, fans don't let fans drive drunk. Brought to you by the Tennessee Highway Safety Office, a division of the Tennessee Department of Safety and Homeland Security.
Up in North Central Middle Tennessee, there was a lot of great action last week. Let's check in there now.
Hey, I'm North Central Regional Sports Editor Blaine Kellar for MainStreetPreps.com. Here to break down some scores, stats, results, and more from the second round and quarterfinal round of the TSSAA football playoffs. You can find all of these stories accompanying these scores and stats on MainStreetPreps.com, as well as the Gallatin News, Hendersonville Standard, Portland Sun, and Main Street Nashville. Starting with a shout out to CPA. The Lions matched their regular season win total of 2 with 2 playoff wins now. Both upsets, defeating Lipscomb Academy on the road in the D2 AAA first round, then this past week heading to Ensworth and winning 17-15 on the road. CPA gets a chance at the D2 AAA semifinals next week when it takes on Brentwood Academy. We'll get to the Eagles in a second, but first, how about Ross Patterson? A few weeks removed from a broken collarbone that he suffered at the end of the regular season, CPA star running back returned, rushing for 69 yards on 17 attempts. Bradshaw Klim accounted for one of the Lions' 2 touchdowns, the other a long fumble recovery by Crew Chance. Ensworth suffered a big blow in the first half in this one. The star running back E.J. Gibson went out with an injury and did not return. On to Brentwood Academy, the Eagles took a disciplined approach to win 42-14 against MBA. A bit of a sloppy affair to start, but the Eagles, led by Coach Paul Wade, went to the D2 AAA semifinals thanks to a big second quarter, a couple of short touchdowns from Larry Sanders II, as well as consistent play from their defense and special teams that put pressure on first-year coach Chris Chauvin in the Big Red for most of the night. BA's defense had 3 interceptions. Tommy Bashero, Mr. Football Kicker of the Year semifinalist for Brentwood Academy. Had a couple of great plays kicking and punting the ball. You can catch that story from Jack Williams. Those two stories on top of Page's 24-7 win over Kirkwood. Part of our Nashville and Williamson coverage for Main Street Nashville. Speaking of the Patriots, they take on Sumner County foe Beach in the Class 5A quarterfinals this coming week. The Buccaneers won 33-30 over Munford, thanks to a strong performance from Kentucky baseball signee Caden Powell, who had 4 total touchdowns, as well as a couple of key turnovers by Beach's defense. Munford rushed for 333 yards as a team. Beach had the big plays when it needed to, along with high-powered production as well. The other Sumner County score of note, Westmoreland falling 55-7 in the Class 3A second round at Westview. Dylan Gann, running back for the Eagles, had 103 yards rushing, but sophomore quarterback Graham Simpson and the Chargers proved to be too much. Simpson threw for 230 yards and 4 touchdowns on just 7 completions. He went 7 for 9 passing on the day. The only touchdown for Westmoreland coming with a 48-point deficit, that coming from quarterback Xander Hodge to receiver Thomas Francis in the second half. It marks the end of the first year for coach Ryan Harris. 6-6 campaign for Westmoreland. Beach is the last team standing from Sumner County in the football playoffs. So look at the North Central region of Main Street Preps. For playoff coverage, be sure to check out our site, see our stories and galleries in print as well. We'll see you here as we continue on our coverage of the postseason.
East Middle Tennessee also had a great slate of games Friday. Here's how that went.
Everybody, this is David Wilson, East Middle Tennessee Regional Sports Editor for Main Street Preps. Here to give you a quick recap of all the second round playoff games across Wilson and Rutherford County this week. Just 2 Wilson County teams were in action this past week. Green Hill in the Class 6A playoffs and Friendship Christian in the Division 2A quarterfinals. We'll start things off in Class 6A, where Green Hill, for the second time in school history, has advanced to a quarterfinal round of the TLSLA playoffs, and for the first time this time in Class 6A. The Hawks picked up a 35-28 win over Science Hill on Friday night in Mount Juliet. Cannon Burrows with the game-winning 31-yard touchdown run with just about 3 minutes left in the fourth quarter to help the Hawks advance. Dylan Hawks had a phenomenal day receiving for Green Hill on offense. He had 7 receptions for 163 yards and a touchdown in this one. It's the second biggest receiving game in school history as Green Hill once again advances in the Class 6A playoffs. They will match up next week in the quarterfinals with Oakland down in the Borough. In Division 2 Single A, as I mentioned, Friendship Christian taking on East Region champion PCA down at MTSU on Friday night. It was a wild and wacky game that went to double overtime, but it was Friendship Christian falling to PCA by a final score of 41-40. Jaden McGowan had 27 rushes in this one for 232 yards and 2 rushing touchdowns. D. Boone had 6 receptions for 2 touchdowns in this one and also had a 41-yard interception return. Friendship Christian was up by 15 in the first half against the host Lions, but PCA storms back with the 2 touchdowns in the fourth quarter and then 2 overtime scores by Porter Dedman. And they hold on the last goal line stand, for a potential game-winning 2-point conversion by Friendship Christian. Jade McGowan gets the carry and gets stuffed by the Lions D, and they advance to their first semifinal in school history, just their 3rd season overall playing TLSLA football in the private school classification. Moving down to Murfreesboro in the Rutherford County area on Friday night, had a host of teams remaining in the second round of the playoffs. Oakland remained undefeated on its season. They downed Bradley Central 35-10. Once again, they will advance and host Green Hill in the quarterfinals this week. It was Blackman going to East Tennessee taking on Dobbins Bennett. It was the Blaze picking up a 21-point win on the road. 28-7 was your final score there. Another trip, Riverdale made the trip out to Maryville in East Tennessee, and they fell to the Rebels 47-18. Riverdale season comes to a close. Then in Division II Single A, once again, it was Middle Tennessee Christian going on the road to West Tennessee to take on Trinity Christian. And it was all Trinity Christian in this one. Final score there, 49-0. That'll do it this week on the wrap up. Looking forward to talking to you guys on the preview once again. We'll have one team remaining in Wilson County and just a couple in Murfreesboro as well from Rutherford County. Looking forward to talking to you guys then.
So how did your team do? If they are still in the hunt, you can find out about their matchup for this Friday with our weekly high school football preview show. That'll be Thursday at 4 p.m. Just watch for it on your community newspaper's Facebook page. And if you want to read in-depth coverage and see amazing photography from your team's games, make sure you pick up a copy of your Main Street Media of Tennessee community newspaper. Maybe even consider getting a subscription. To find out how to get a subscription, visit MainStreetMediaTN.com. All right, we'll see you right back here next Tuesday on the High School Football Wrap-Up Show presented by Main Street Media of Tennessee and your local newspaper.